There is a song you did not like the first time you heard it. Now it plays and something in you relaxes. A person you barely noticed the first time you met them. Now they feel like home. There is a habit you know is not good for you, but it feels so familiar, so normal, that stopping it feels entirely wrong. Nothing changed about any of these things. What changed was how many times your brain had encountered them. In 1968, psychologist Robert Zajonc ran a series of quiet but important experiments. He showed people the same images, words, and faces multiple times without telling them. Each time something appeared again, people rated it more positively. Not because it had improved, not because they knew anything more about it, simply because it was familiar. He called this the mere exposure effect. The explanation is rooted in how your brain processes safety. When you have encountered before and survived it, by definition, is not a threat, and your brain, working quietly in the background, codes familiarity as comfort, comfort as safety, and safety as good. This effect is running in your life constantly, and it is being used on you constantly. Why do brands show you the same advertisement over and over, even when it has no new information? Because repeated exposure builds preference without your permission. Why do you keep going back to the same restaurant, even when you know other places are better? Because the familiar menu feels safe. The unknown feels like a risk. And here is the harder one. Why do some people stay in relationships or situations that are clearly not good for them? Because familiarity feels like home, even when home is not a healthy place. The mere exposure effect does not distinguish between what is familiar and good, and what is just familiar. Think about how many things you have dismissed too quickly. A new food you tried once and decided you did not like. A different style of music that felt strange the first time. A person who seemed uninteresting at first meeting. An idea that felt uncomfortable because it was new. The initial reaction was not a real judgment. It was just your brain registering something unfamiliar and labeling it as uncertain. Most people stop there and never find out what was on the other side. Now, there are two things to use this knowledge. First, before you decide you do not like something, ask yourself how many times you have genuinely experienced it. One uncomfortable first impression is not a verdict. Give things real exposure before you close the door. Second, start questioning your comfort zones. When you feel drawn to something simply because it is familiar, pause and ask, is this actually good for me, or does it just feel safe because I know it? Your habits, your patterns, your relationship choices, many of them are not decisions you are actively making. They are things your brain has grown comfortable with, and comfortable is not the same as right. When you understand the mere exposure effect, two real changes happen. You become more open. You stop dismissing things before they have had a real chance. You try the unfamiliar more readily. And you discover that many of the things you thought you did not like, you just had not given them enough time. And you become more honest. You start asking whether the patterns you keep returning to are genuinely serving you, or whether you are just comfortable inside them. That question alone, asked honestly, is one of the most powerful things you can do for your own growth. Because real growth almost always starts where familiarity ends.